What's up, everybody? Rob here, back with another episode of Wasting Wildcards. This week, I'm trying to bring back something a little old, a little new, Jeskai control. This was my favorite archetype for the first two Ravnica expansions. I had really good luck with it. The only time I have hit Mythic so far was grinding a best of one Jeskai control list that I put together. And it's kind of fallen out of favor, which is, I guess, Esper probably has more tools overall, but doesn't have niv-mizzet. And niv-mizzet it's too good to go unplayed. So, yeah, I mean, we've got some new stuff. We got Commence the Endgame, we got Little Teferi, we got Dovin's Vetoes, and we're just going to see if counter spells and Deafening Clarions are still good. Haven't done too much playing with this deck, but let's see how we do. You know what? I think I'm in best of one. Let's cancel this. I sure was. All right, let's go to traditional. Jeskai control. So if anybody's familiar with the archetype, this is a little different than the older one because I'm not running Expansion Explosion. It is more kind of control-y. A lot more counter spells, some card draw, as well as this is terrible. Where's the mulligan that? This is pretty bad, but it's passable. So let's keep the 6. I think we want to get like a cheap counter spell or something out early. We've got first couple turns. We'd like to play against a creature deck, but of course it's Esper, because everything is Esper right now. I mean, I guess it might be like Sultai, Dreadhorde, or something like that. Let's see. Grixis. I don't actually know how this deck would do against Grixis. I guess countering their stuff is pretty good. Just gotta draw their counter spells. There's one. Alright, so let's see what we're up against here. If it's more of a creature-based deck or if it's more of a control deck. Definitely don't want them to have that. No value for you. Now here we have to decide if we want to hold up, play Chemisters, draw some cards, or play this and hope they don't have removal. I think the safer play is probably to hold up Chemisters. It's not like we have anything to like do here. Alright, so let's fire off the Chemisters. Discard the Clarion. We try an island. So we could play Teferi Bounce, but that just gives them another discard trigger, which is fine. I think maybe we just do that. We're gonna draw a card.
Might be a bad idea.
Spell Pierce is pretty good, so let's play an island so we can hold up Spell Pierce. Get rid of the wind. Got Big Teferi now, which is pretty good. So we can go Big Teferi Tuck.
I am not making this up as I go.
We could go Crackling Drake, hold up Spell Pierce. Maybe that's good, just so we can get on board here. It's not like they're going to be able to flip Nicol Bolas anytime soon. So we'll be able to protect our Crackling Drake depending on what kind of removal they play. Teferi's going to fight the dust.
I really should have seen that coming.
So I guess other than like a cast down or... Alright, well, we lived. That's good. I guess we could attack. I don't want to play anything into open mana, so I'd rather sit back with our counter spells here. Hopefully our opponent's not patiently trying to get to 7 mana to flip their Nicol Bolas. Our deck is hard removal light, which is not ideal. Draw to a couple shocks, maybe. Alright, so let's see. We have access to 6 mana. We could play to Fairy. And depending on what they have, we can Spell Pierce. Can't Spell Pierce that one. That's a bummer. Okay. Well, trying to make moves here. Guess we just keep racing. So I didn't shock there to get more damage in just because I want to... If they play a Dragon God, I would like to counter that for sure. Yep, that resolves. But that should be okay. Yeah, I was gonna say. It would actually be pretty good if they attacked there. Alright, so now we're just gonna attack. We either trade. Okay, that's a fine trade. We're going to pass. I'm just going to hold up counter magic here. They have at least a couple more turns before this flips. So we do have a clock. You could always play Teferi and Tuck, but I don't want to play Teferi until I have the proper amount of counter protection for them. Okay, we still got a couple. Narset. Okay, so let's go 3. And this way, if they have something, we still have our Spell Pierce. Narset is a huge problem for our deck because Jeskai really relies on drawing cards.
Stand by
Probably isn't gonna flip next time, so I think we just want to get our cards out here.
Hold that thought.
Opt isn't bad. It's not great. So I can shock here. That way I can have Spell Pierce and Chemister's Insight mana. Yes. Jeskai. So, the one downside of this build is you don't have the Expansion Explosion niv-mizzet combo, which is always the most fun. So, I think we just let this happen. Not that there's really anything we can do. We could opt. But now we could opt and look for a counter spell if they're going to do something cheeky. That is fine. So now we need to decide if we want to opt into something crappy, hopefully, and then discard that, or we just straight insight for opt. But I think if we're... Yeah, let's do this. Let's draw this land. We're still getting stuff out of our deck we don't want particularly, and we're going to draw some cards. Alright, we got a win condition. Hopefully we draw some counter magic.
You know what? I'm not done yet.
A resolved friggin' Narset would have been rough. I always forget Syncopate Exiles. Okay, so I think we play this here. So we have all the mana we would ever need. They play something problematic. We can opt in response. So hopefully we can kill them before they get any value off of this flip search for Asgata. So let's say after a search they have 4 mana. spells. Dragon God. Not Dragon God, the Ravager. Dragon God is a little bit more problematic. That is the benefit of counterspells. Unfortunately, our Drake is wide open here to something like a Bedevil or Tyrant Scorn, I guess. Okay. I forgot you can't kill it with a Tyrant Scorn. But we're keeping them off Bolus. We keep ticking up to Fairy, which is fantastic.
We need to move quickly.
Let's play the Drake. Ooh. So, I don't want to play Niv yet. Depending on the next few turns of events, we could potentially Niv for the win. So I'm going to keep my spells here. Actually, no. I'm going to hold off on my Chemisters until I can get Niv out. Okay, so let's see here. We got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we could play niv-mizzet. If they try to kill, we can Chemister in response, which would be enough ping damage for Bolus to die. So we're going to draw one.
No time for a break.
Going to ping Bolus. We are going to play this. We're going to that's fun. It's an interesting main deck card. Alright, well, I guess we'll hit ourselves. Not the most ideal targets. Have to counter the bowls here, though, or else they're dead. So we don't have the best position here. I mean, we can counter something really expensive. Do I even care about this thing? I don't believe I do. I guess I just absorb this, because realistically that's what they would take anyway. Does leave me tap. Ooh, okay, we got there. So, Grixis control is what this seems more like. Based on just, you know, not a ton of creatures. Even the control decks play the Nicol Bolas. We didn't see a lot of the mid-range creatures like, geez, what the thing's called? The Pirate, Hostage Taker, or... Man, I'm bad at remembering names. The little flyer thief thing. Thief of Sanity. So I guess our control plan here is to bring in counterplay. Prison Realm's probably not bad. But I think we just want to go wide, I guess. Do we want to go wide? This is a hero matchup. I doubt they're going to have, like, sweepers. What's bad? Deafening Clarion. Not ideal. Shock is medium. And I think the one Quench is questionable. I don't know if this is necessary if we're also playing Syncopates. So if I'm going wide, I want multicolored spells. Maybe Commence, just because it's so expensive, but it can't be countered. It's just good value. Maybe the Quench comes out. And an Opt. Maybe let's try this. Again, I'm not super experienced with this matchup or deck, so I'm just kind of doing it on the fly. But yeah, a lot of counter spells in a Teferi, and just enough of a threat. So we're on the draw. We have our 2 lands, turn 1, turn 2. That leaves up with mana for opt and veto. So we're going to keep this. I'm going to shock on turn 1 just so I can hopefully opt our way into more land. Or just draw naturally, but in the matchup like this, our life total is definitely a resource we want to utilize because we're not going to be pressured particularly hard. It's expensive. Don't want that yet. And we are good on lands, so I'm going to hold up both Pierce and Veto. Legion Warboss, I see. I see our opponent had a similar plan here.
Let's slow this.
Warboss is just the go-to control sideboard card. It's good though. Took out my Clarions. Smart play.
This is hardly my worst.
So we have Drakes that can go over their head, which I'm gonna have to do. This race is going to escalate quickly. Yeah, I think we may have been 1 turn too slow here. If we were able to bounce and play our own Warboss quicker,
I am one again.
I guess we just exile a Shockland.
Return.
5 loyalty.
My schemes are never ending.
So we block 1 that we can kill. Things are not looking up. Our opponent out controlled us. So we can play a second Drake here. Or our own Warboss. Our own Warboss at this point doesn't really leave us blockers. So I think we just have to hold back, unfortunately. This is unfortunate for sure. Gonna make them utilize their mana. So I'm gonna concede before they see that we are also playing the Warboss plan. So, So there's the potential of another Warboss plan. So let's take in 1 Clarion and 1 Prison Realm. Prison Realm also gets rid of Planeswalkers, so it's not just pure dead. Let's go down a Pierce and a Veto. So we're not changing too much here, but I want to be prepared for opposing creatures, even if it's just ever so slightly. As you can see, the little Warboss can really take over a game. Alright, so we are on the aggression here. We're going to have our own turn 3 Warboss. Hopefully we can draw some counter or something that protect it from Thought Erasure. No, sir. Yep, there goes the warp. Ooh, we lucked out. And we have the potential of double Warbossing here. So, I'm sure I've said it in previous videos, but if you're playing against somebody who plays a Legion Warboss and you have removal in your hand, always go into full control. because you'll be able to kill the war boss while it's still my main phase, and it's not going to get its trigger, because the game defaults to just letting the trigger go, which is super annoying. So we're going to block here. I'm going to attack with both here. Don't mind a trade, considering I have another one. Nickel Bolus is okay. I'm going to discard. I think it's commenced the endgame. It's either that or the land, but I don't think that's too important. So I'm going to let this happen. I'm going to attack with everybody. Now I have the decision of, do I let them get all the power, or do I kill everything? I don't know what the right answer is. I'm going in. We're going in. So, yeah, I guess I could have held back with one of the war bosses. I don't know. We're just racing here. If stuff gets too out of hand, Clary on the way to victory. Alright, I see what's happening here.
This isn't a fight you can win. I've got it.
Just trying to get her power up here. So we can syncopate for one, which, you know, it's not the most powerful of moves, but we have that ability. So they play Bolus, they have 2 blockers, and I can get in with 1 for sure. This trades. I think we're in a pretty good spot. Basically, getting on the Legion Warboss train before our opponent was pretty clutch in this matchup. Huh. That resolves. Interesting. So I am going to sit back on Syncopate for sure. So I can Syncopate for 4, which our opponent can pay. Let's draw 2 here. will happen. I mean, they have to take Syncopate here, yeah. They can play Bolus. Freaking out there. We discard. Probably Clarion at this point. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That or the Fountain, but I might need lands, so. I guess. If they don't have removal, I mean. Next turn we trade for everything. Fortunately, Grixis is much better on the removal scale. I also took out a couple of shocks, which is not ideal. So I guess maybe like a niv-mizzet is probably our best draw here.
I am death's master.
Or it's another war boss. I mean, another war boss is definitely not bad. Jesus. So much land. That might have done it. That might have actually nailed the coffin for us. Don't need these lands.
Conceivable! I outsmarted you eons ago.
So we get a war boss. Ooh, this is interesting. Huh. Next turn they can flip. I don't know if we can beat a flipped Bolus. That's a 2. So okay, so we play a Legion War Boss. We attack with a 1/1 and a 2/2. They could just let the 1/1 in. Do we... I guess we have to hope to hit some kind of counter magic. Whew. All right. So,
Right on schedule.
I mean, we live momentarily.
Let's try this.
Oh man, just gotta get in these last few points of damage. Drawing a niv-mizzet would have been pretty incredible. So a plus here would be okay. I can just get rid of a land I don't need.
I have other plans. Witness a mote of my power.
Duress, get rid of my other Teferi. Play Bolus, get rid of my Sacred Foundry. Depending on what their other card is, there's still a very, very small window here of sneaking in the win. Bolus is definitely a problem. Both of them.
Only time will tell.
Nope, Syncopate's not going to do it. Yep, they're gonna flip this. They can pretty much just completely steal the game from here.
The time fades what let your
4 damage.
minds crumble.
I don't even think a niv-mizzet really could pull it out at this point. It's crazy they're playing wayside plating. So they attack here and then flip? That's what I would do. They could flip, get greedy, draw 2 cards, maybe whiff. They could attack. Wait. Why? Why would you not just flip and kill? That's not something I can counter. That is an interesting play for sure. Okay, well, drawing a land there is probably gonna definitely clinch the loss for us. Yeah, our opponent could have totally just won, but not that they're not gonna win anyway, but I mean, come on. Yeah, things aren't looking up.
Schemes have been foiled.
I'm trying to think what I could even
You have no
draw at this
weakness
point.
I cannot exploit.
Opponent's like on a win more train here. Do they not know that they can have multiple Nicol Bolas Planeswalkers? Do they think there's the weird Legends rule still applies? I mean, I'm gonna play this to the end. I'm gonna lose, but I just... Alright. Are they gonna flip? I don't know what they're waiting for. I just want to see 2 boluses. They got the win. They got the W. So they could still flip here. Yeah, freaking, what are you doing? You could have done that 2 turns ago. Now, personally, I would have done this before activating him, because then he could +2, draw 2 cards. You could have 4 more cards. For someone who just beat us, our opponent probably could have done some more work. GG's, my dude. Alright, well, I mean, that was a pretty significant game. You can see that Jeskai still has some play. I wonder if it would be better with the old expansion explosion plan. I think so. Let's see. So this was the old deck I played. This was my best of 1 deck last season. It is built like a best of 1 deck, thus the main deck Lyra, Settle, friggin' Revitalize, Quench. It was back when they were playing like the treasure map, like ramp Jeskais too, but I found that early counter magic was just good against the field. So this brought me to Mythic, just best of 1, and it was a pretty powerful deck. So this one I kind of tried to go off of some decks that I saw placed decently on Magic Online, and it's definitely got some play, but I don't know, it doesn't seem right. It kind of seems strictly worse than the Jeskai Planeswalker deck. So yeah, if you guys have any Jeskai decks you like to play, any suggestions, anything you want to let us know, check us out, like us and subscribe on YouTube, and thanks.